Wreck-It Ralph 2 has been in the Disney pipeline for quite a while now. Of course, when they first announced the second movie, we were all wondering where could they possibly go from the first movie to expand upon this idea. Which, don't get me wrong, the whole premise behind Wreck-It Ralph is a fun little concept. And it makes for an actually pretty fun movie, one of my favorites in fact. So needless to say, a lot of us were excited when Disney announced Ralph Breaks the Internet. Of course, this was all before the Emoji Movie shoved its ugly face into the ugly faces of children everywhere. And that's where we get the whole problem with the current public opinion of Wreck-It Ralph. These two movies have a very similar concept. But there's a definitive difference between what we've seen so far of Ralph Breaks the Internet and the Emoji Movie. Where the Emoji Movie would rather shove memes at our face, Wreck-It Ralph actually has a competent writing team behind it. And that's something that Ralph Breaks the Internet has that the Emoji Movie doesn't, the ability to actually write its own material. I have reason to suspect the writers of the Emoji Movie are so brain dead they don't actually have the ability to do that anymore. We did see some big name stuff like eBay, but there was also some big name stuff in the last movie, which barely served a pivotal role in the plot or overall progression of the story at all. Another huge difference is, where the Emoji Movie was pandering to the masses, Wreck-It Ralph seems to be trying to entertain. The trailer's actually pretty fun. And in terms of this direction overall, this is actually the next logical step. You have to take into account Wreck-It Ralph is actually an old game, and the arcade that it sits in is also old. Now the owner's setting up a Wi-Fi router, which is the next logical thing. It's a sign of the times. There's also a little girl in the back seat with a tablet. It's another sign of the times. It's a harsh reality, but it's the reality we're currently living in. But unlike when the Emoji Movie just shoved all this stuff at our face, this trailer is actually funny, which is a good sign for the movie. And unlike its horrid counterpart, the Emoji Movie, this has actually been in production for a while. And given this movie's predecessor, we know that the writers aren't just gonna pander to us with whole loads of memes. Keep in mind, this is not Sony. These are the same people that brought us Frozen and Zootopia, two of Disney's highest grossing and best received movies of all time. Not to mention Big Hero 6 and Zootopia are actually personal favorites of mine. But the most important thing I take away from this is, I think they get it. I think they know how horrible internet culture is, and I think they have the capability to make fun of it. They probably won't outright make fun of it, but movies nowadays are putting in adult-only humor. So the possibility is very likely. Think about it. There were jokes in Zootopia that only adults would have gotten, like how slow the DMV is. But the most important thing about the Wreck-It Ralph trailer is that this isn't the Emoji Movie. That's a completely different team from a completely different company. This is actually a studio that has come up with some pretty interesting ideas. A lot of them are original, and a lot of them are funny. And unlike other studios out there, these guys will take their time. And I think with their track record, accomplished staff, and large budget, they can pull this off. And I think the result is that we'll be left with a comparison similar to comparing Yooka-Laylee to A Hat in Time. One is a game that understands what the fans wanted, and the other one seems a fair bit lost. And I'm hoping the end result is the Emoji Movie is the one that's lost, and this movie is the one that knows what we want. Trailer's down in the description below, guys. My name is Hunter, and that's my impression.
There once was a guy who created a machine, a thing that would take people to and from some other world. And when he arrived, he had run into a pony who smiled and decided that they both should go see a film. When that movie sucked, they decided to join forces, and then they created a new show called Hunter Reviews.